Hey, I want to look at this amazing pedal today. This is the TC Electronic Hall of Fame 2. It has what every reverb pedal has: level, decay, and tone. The decay will determine how long you want to hear the effect for. If the sound of your guitar was bouncing off the surfaces in a particular space, how quickly or slowly those echoes will decay and will stop. Level is really how much of the effect you want, how loud the effect is going to be. And then the tone controls the volume of the octave up signal. The more of that, the brighter and crisper, and the less of the octave up keeps it within the same octave of the note, the original dry note, and that gets a little gloomier and darker, so you can control the kind of palette and the mood of the reverb. This has a range of presets. Originally, reverb was done with kind of physical constructs. If you play guitar in a tiled bathroom, Jimi Hendrix was a big fan of playing guitar in his tiled bathroom because of the particular acoustic quality of the sound bouncing off the tiles. That's going to sound a little bit different than if you're playing at home in a room with a lot of soft furniture. In a church or a cathedral, you're going to get different kinds of echoes. So reverb originally came from all that, but they began to create things like controlled echo chambers where they would be able to control and get a consistent sound. Then they had plate reverbs, literally a big sheet of metal, and they'd have a transducer to send the sound into the metal would vibrate, they'd have microphones at either side of the metal. Spring reverb, you're literally sending the sound down a spring. So what these pedals do is they approximate some of those sounds. Room, which is playing in a standard sized room. A hall, which would be kind of a concert hall. Spring, approximating the sound of the spring reverb. Plate, we talked about that big sheet metal, so that's approximating that sound. A church, much more echoey. Before I move on to the other settings, there's another thing that this pedal has, which is called a mash switch. Pushing that switch in and kind of holding it in with your foot, it's pressure sensitive, so that adds an extra level of expression control. So for those first few settings, room, hall, spring, plate, and church, mashing the switch down controls the volume level. Now moving on to the shimmer effect, this shimmer effect was actually a separate pedal called the sub and up octaver. What that does basically is it adds an extra octave above your note. The mod setting, there's a Corona chorus pedal, which has a tri-chorus algorithm. In the lo-fi setting, the mash switch controls reverb decay up to a maximum of 20 seconds and also adjusts the tone. And then finally, you've got these three tone print settings. There's an app called Tone Print. There's something like 150 different guitarists that have collaborated with TC Electronic and adjusted their reverb settings, made those settings available in the app, and you can find the particular setting that you like. You hold the phone next to the pickup of your guitar and it beams the sound into your guitar down the guitar cable into the pedal. There are 3 existing presets on there. You have a whole library of sounds and adjustments that you can bring in from other guitarists and beam them onto your guitar. You can also, if you get a sound you like, you can transfer that to the app and store that, or you can adjust it using the app. You can adjust the settings and customize it and decide what you want the mash to do. Do you want it to control the decay or the tone or other settings? And you can also take the tone print sounds from that library of collaborative musicians that are working with TC Electronic and adjust their sounds too. There's also a toggle switch for short and long pre-delay. It's quite small. Finally, it's got a pretty cool red color. These go for around 150 bucks. I'm going to include the link to Amazon where you can buy one if you so choose in the video description. So let's see how the thing sounds. This is our dry sound. Barely noticeable. Let's bring that up a little bit more. It's just grazing the halfway mark, but right away you can feel that introducing itself. Just crank that a little bit further. Let's bring that up all the way. This toggle for the pre-delay sort of indicates how close you are to the wall. So the shorter pre-delay means you're kind of right up against the wall. Longer pre-delay means you're a bit further back, so it'll take longer for the sound to go and bounce. So with a short pre-delay, there's a noticeable difference. Now the tone brings in more upper octave notes on top of what you're doing. And with the tone all the way down, definitely feel the sound concatenating a little bit and pancaking, so it's really focusing just on the octave within which you're playing. Does bring it into more of an ethereal feeling, a shoegazy feeling, and that's just on the room setting. Let's go a little further into the hall setting, and we're going to bring the level and the decay and the tone down a little bit just so we can understand what's happening, and start with the short fuse on the pre-decay. Setting, you've got to go halfway to get an effect, and with the hall setting, even halfway, it doesn't seem to drench you. So bring the level up on that hall setting. A longer pre-delay. Halfway on the level, the short pre-delay, the effect isn't quite as noticeable, so using the longer delay, which I guess makes sense because if you're in a hall, the walls are going to be further away. As the tone increases, you can hear that shimmering, fluttering butterfly effect in the upper octaves. Very, very beautiful. On this tone for a shoegaze or an ethereal or a gothy type of player, there's just some serious shimmering cascade effect that happens there. Really, really classy. Let's just bring the level of the decay up even more and just overwhelm ourselves a bit with that. Let's try the spring setting, and we're going to bring everything down again and just kind of start from scratch with the short pre-delay. With the levels down, down, it definitely does feel like these effects are barely noticeable. Let's just bring the level up just before halfway. That feels very subtle. Let's try the long delay on that. We're going to bring the decay up a bit and see if that boosts what we're doing. Let's get a little more level on that. That seems of all the effects so far the most subtle. Nice, it almost has a little rockabilly or surfer rock kind of slap back to it. Let's just bring some of that tone in and see if that does anything to it. Not really seeing too much about the distorted sound that appeals to me a whole lot, but it's an interesting effect with the tone up. The shimmer is there, but it's still slapback shimmer, which is kind of interesting. Let's just ride that tone up a bit further. Okay, must admit, not a massive fan of the spring reverb. Let's see what the plate sounds like, and again we're going to start the plate with everything turned fairly low and the pre-delay on short. So far what I notice is with the level turned down, the effect is barely noticeable, so you've got to ride the level a little bit. Touch, and then you can start to feel it coming in, but it's very subtle. Bringing that to halfway. Interesting. It's a very different effect to the hole in the room. Not a massive fan. So similar to the spring, it has that kind of slap back effect to it. The plate's still a little bit subtle until you bring it up to about halfway, and you can definitely hear a very sweet effect. Plate's very nice. Lingers really beautifully in the palette, in the sound. I'm interested to hear what the church sounds like. Just not much of an effect at the lower level. Let's bring the level up to just a little over a third. stronger pre-delay seems to give a stronger effect. Bringing it to halfway. Adding a little more decay. Bring in some more of the decay. Really cavernous sound. And that's with the level only halfway. The decay is pretty far up. Let's turn the decay all the way. Really special. And if you bring the level up, I imagine it's going to get a touch overwhelming. And the shimmering is already built into this church sound, so if we start to bring the tone up, I'd imagine the upper octaves are going to add even more of that shoegazy, ethereal feel to it. Shimmer setting takes that church setting and brings in the algorithm of another TC electronic pedal called the sub and up octave. Low level, not that noticeable. But right away when you bring it to about halfway, you begin to notice. And you can hear that little shimmer. And I have the pre-delay set to long. I'm going to turn the decay up a little further because I can hear that shimmering effect on the higher octave decaying very quickly. Bringing in a TC electronic chorus effect. And I don't hear much at the lower setting, so again, bringing the level up a bit. Pressed all the way, which is giving this Leslie cabinet kind of rotating vibe. try that lo-fi setting. It's almost exhausting trying out these different settings. There's so many of them. Now we come to the 3 presets: tone print 1, 2, and 3. The modulation depth and feedback of the vibrato that's on this tone print 1 is controlled by mashing the pedal in. Here goes the mash. Every setting all the way to the right, you've barely got to touch the guitar for it to swell a crazy sound. The second tone print takes a Shimmer reverb, which is based on the cathedral algorithm, and combines it with a flanger, and by mashing the pedal you're going to control the volume of the shimmer and delay of the flanger. So let's just bring this to about halfway. Roughly at the 3/4 level. Let's try what that mash sounds like. So the final tone print is church reverb and shimmer and chorus. And the mash in this case is a volume pedal, so if you don't push down on this you get no sound at all. Now I find that a bit subtle, so I'm just going to magnify the decay tone and level just to make it sound a bit more explicit. In a way I feel like these tone print controls are bonus extras. I really like that first one. The other two are a little bit hard to understand how you'd use those on a frequent basis, but they really give you an indication of what you can do with this pedal. Now how about taking the tone print app and see if we can beam an effect to the pedal like it talks about. So you're literally browsing through all these possible settings and deciding which one you want to take. And if you take the ocean's depth, you can see that little beam to pedal option there. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, please click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get notified when new content gets posted.